everyone, it's JoJo from Mojo JoJo Plans, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make some DIY sheet protectors for my classic Happy Planner. So this one is actually the one that Happy Planner came out with. It came in a companion pack. It hasn't really come out separately. They have come out with some, but they were made for some other things like little journaling cards, so they had little pockets in them. But a lot of people have been just wanting a full sheet one. I will say something to keep in mind with these full sheet ones. They won't fit your entire sheet of Happy Planner paper, like your classic size. It won't fit that. You'll have to basically cut off the spine in order to fit it in there. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's how the Happy Planners is. That's how mine's going to be. And then if you're wanting it bigger, you can. Let me just show you. So this one's, like I said, this one's the one that Happy Planner came out with. Now, if you're wanting it a little bit bigger, you can just make yours a little bit longer when you make it. So that way, you know, it comes out a little farther. That way, if you're wanting to go ahead and stick the whole sheet in there, you can. So just kind of keep that in mind with this. It's not a perfect way to make these, but it's kind of the way that I figured out how to make it, and it works enough to help you get what you're needing. So let's go over my tools and what I'm needing to make one of these. So I grabbed from my local Walmart some sheet protectors. These are actually the heavy weighted ones. There were some that were only like $1 that I could have got, but they were really flimsy, and I really wanted to get, like, if I was going to do this, I wanted a more sturdy sheet protector. So these ones are just a little bit thicker. They're a little nicer. I think these were like $6 for 25. You could probably get them cheaper on Amazon, and if I can find some, I'll link them down in the description below. But I grabbed some of these. Then you'll also need a fuse tool. So this is a Project Life fuse tool. I got it a while ago, and you will need it with this little, I don't know if you can see, I'm not going to put it against my skin because it is on like this little kind of ridged, but basically we're going to make these little ridges that are on the original Happy Planner on our new one. So this is how we're going to kind of fuse our sheet together and make a new one. So we're going to make a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet size, fit and make it the size of a classic Happy Planner. And then you could also, you know, modify these steps and do it for a mini or a skinny classic or a skinny mini, whatever you're wanting. You could definitely modify it for those things. So mine is on, it's getting nice and hot. So I will make sure to link the fuse tool down in the description below. I also have a ruler pulled out. I have a paper trimmer just because I'm lazy and it's a lot easier than just cutting, but you could just use scissors, and then just a pen. And then last, I have my crocodile punch that punches like the mushroom punches. They're single holes. I figured this one would be better. You could try to use your Happy Planner punch, but I'm going to tell you right now, I have a feeling it's just going to get stuck with plastic. It very well might be able to work, and I'm not saying this one works. It works enough to where it doesn't get stuck, but it doesn't take off everything, so we will need scissors or an X-Acto knife later on. But again, this isn't perfect. This is just the method that I kind of found that works for the most part. So I'm going to use a clipboard here, mainly because my board underneath, you know, using the fuse tool on top of it's going to like melt. So I'd rather just use something that I don't care about. So first thing I'm going to do, I have my original Happy Planner sheet protector. Now, if you don't have a Happy Planner sheet protector, you could also just use a regular classic size sheet, like, right? So it already has the punches. So let me grab one so I could just show you. So any sheet will do, just classic size. So you can use this for sizing as well because they're about the same. Okay, so again, just keep in mind, once this is all said and done, it's not going to fit a full sheet. You're going to have to trim your sheet if you actually want it in the sheet protector. But if you're wanting to make it a little bit bigger, you can, so that way you can slide the full sheet. Just know you're going to have to do this size and then a little bit more along the side. So I'm just going to use my original one just because it's a little bit easier. I have my new sheet protector here, so this one's from that Walmart pack. And what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can see, but down at the bottom of this one, it has those ridges, meaning I lost a little bit of space. The Happy Planner ones are sealed all the way down to the bottom. So I'm actually going to start mine a little bit above that, so that way I'm not missing out on any of that extra space. And I'm just going to line it up, and all I'm going to do is take a pen and make a couple marks here of where I'm going to trim this. The nice thing about doing it this way is I'm only going to have to fuse one side. So that means I won't have to worry about fusing this side and the bottom because I'm not going to be cutting those ones. I'm just going to have to fuse this side on the long side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper trimmer, and I'm sorry, I know it's so hard to see. It's super gloomy outside today, so I can't turn off my ring light, but I'm sorry, I'm trying my best. But, so I'm just going to take my paper trimmer, and I'm just going to cut it where I need it cut. Actually, let's cut this way first, since I need that top piece here. We'll cut this guy down, take that away, and then now I'll go ahead and do the other side. Okie dokie, just like so. So now I have my sheet. So now it opens on one side. Now we'll need to fuse this together. So if I look at the other one and I can kind of see how thick they've gone, you don't have to go that thick, and I don't have to go that thick, but I think I will. So I'm just going to line this up again, and I'm just going to say around here is where I want that to be, where I'm going to fuse it. Let's see, which way is it going to be easier for me to hold this? Let's do it this way. So I'm going to take my ruler, wherever that went, and I'm going to hold this down. So now this is really important, you guys. You got to hold it really tight. I'm not great at, like, I have no hand strength, but making sure that this stays straight. Otherwise, we're going to end up with wobbly lines. So I'm going to take my fuse tool, and we got to push nice and hard for this and go slow. I found the key to the fuse tool is to go slow and apply a lot of pressure. Otherwise, it will just come undone. So all I'm going to do is just drag this along. I'm going real slow. And what it's doing is it's melting the plastic together. So kind of like scrapbooking, if you think of like how the scrapbooking, that's what this tool is usually used for. I knew it would have another purpose eventually. So when I bought it, I was like, I'll use it for something at some point in time. So again, I'm going nice and slow. This is not a time to rush through it, because I found every time I've rushed through it, it does not stick very well. All the way up to the top. Okay, so then I have it fused together. Should be good to go. Now what I'm going to do is take to the very end. So if you can see, kinda. Okay, I'm going to go to the very end, and I'm going to do the same thing on the very edge. Otherwise, we'll just have these pieces flapping open, which can get real annoying real fast. So I'm just going to do the same thing again and get as close to the edge as I can without it rolling off, and I'll be right back. Okie dokie, I'm back. So I've fused together, here, let me take my piece of paper, maybe we can see a little bit. I fused it together at the very edge and inside. So now I have my border, I have exactly where my papers are gonna go, right? Easy peasy. So that's pretty much it for like setting that up. That part's easy. I feel like that's the easy part. So the next hard part is to do the punch. Now this is actually the hard part. This part I had the most trouble with. The thing is this is such a great punch. Like, it punches through all the things. It punches through thick material, all that good stuff. But because, you know, this is so flimsy, it makes it a little hard. So it doesn't cut it all the way through, but it cuts it enough to where all you have to do is kind of do a little fixing here and there to be good. So I'm actually going to use a regular sheet of paper just to get my first hole lined up, and then after that my Crop-A-Dile will be able to take over the rest. This part also, you just have to really make sure you're lining it up enough to where you're not going to be lopsided. Otherwise we end up with crooked hole punches. And again, you can try doing this in your regular Happy Planner punch, but I have a feeling it would get stuck and it would just be a lot of poking things out in order to make it unstuck, which, you know, ultimately will mean a pain in the butt later. So I'm lining it up. I'm lining up that little hole there so that way I can kind of see where this one needed to go. And that one just started it. So again, this is kind of what I'm talking about. It cuts it through, but it leaves a little bit behind, which, yes, I realize that's a pain in the butt. I'll show you a little bit later a way that I kind of figured out how to not make it do that, but it kind of just does that. So later on we'll go through with an X-Acto knife and just trim off the rest, or you can pull it off. You just want to be careful because you don't want to break it, but we just need it enough to be able to continue doing the rest of our punches. So now that the first hole is done, I can use that hole to continue lining it up. So I can stick the little mushroom in there, make sure it's straight, and then punch it. So I'm just going to go in and do that for all of them, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gotten all my punches in. I realize, again, it's clear, so it's really, really hard for you to see, but all of them have these like little tabs, like just a little bit hanging on each of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to go in and cut wherever it got stuck. And again, I don't know why the Crop-A-Dile does this. I'm just assuming it's because it's so thin that it can't necessarily cut through. Like, it cuts through great, but then it just doesn't cut those little edges where it gets stuck to. So it's kind of a bummer, but I feel like either way it's doing better than the Happy Planner punch would. Because I can guarantee you, I feel like it would get stuck. And if it didn't get stuck the first time, after a while it would definitely wear down to where it got stuck. So I'm just going to go through and clean these up real quick because this is going to take a minute, and I'll be right back. Okie dokie, I'm back. So they're all cleaned up and it's ready to go in my planner. So it's all done. It is a little bit tedious, but it did take me less than 2 minutes. I thought it was going to take me a lot longer. It did take me less than 2 minutes, but here's my new one. Then I can just slap it in my planner. The punches are lined up perfectly. I'll be able to stick a sheet of paper just like in this one. But then it's good to go, you guys. I know it's super hard to see, but there's my page protector. So that is how to DIY your own little page protector. And I will say, okay, so my little tip. So I did try this way. So I tried because I was like, maybe it's not cutting through all the way because, you know, it's so flimsy, it's so thin, it's having a hard time with it. So I was like, well, maybe if I stick some paper in there to punch it, and this way did work a little bit better. So if you have like maybe like a cute, like I think like cardstock would work even better. But I would highly suggest, all I did was the same exact steps, but before I sealed with my fuse tool, I just added a little strip of paper in there. So that's all I did. But just know once you punch it, you're not going to be able to take it out easily. It's going to have to be like a needle thread kind of situation if you want to get it back out. But I would do this. I think if I were to make a bunch of these, I would probably pick like some cute colors of cardstock, or maybe even just white cardstock, but something a little bit thicker, because I did just use some Happy Planner paper, which was still a little bit flimsy, so it didn't work as well, but it definitely worked a lot better than just doing it plain. But that's how you wanted to do it if you just want, you know, to be completely clear. But I will say, I think it does punch a lot better if there's paper in there, and I think it'll punch even better if there's some cardstock. So I would do like some different colors in there, you know, some like pretty cardstock. You can even get like the pretty like floral, you know, from Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Joann's, like the cute, you know, scrapbook paper, and stick it in there and make some really cute ones. But I did find it did punch a little bit easier. I still had to do a little correcting with my X-Acto knife on some of them, but it wasn't nearly as much as I had to do with the just clear one. So there you go, you guys. I know this was super hard to see because, you know, I'm dealing with some clear sheets of paper, but that is how I kind of figured out the easiest way, I think, to make your own DIY laminating sheets for your Happy Planner, or not that is how to make your own DIY protective sheet protectors for your happy planner. And again, you can modify this for whatever size you're wanting. So if you're wanting to make half the size for your skinny classic or even skinny mini or your mini, obviously for big, you don't need to do really anything. I think for big, you would just need to take a regular sheet protector and just punch it, and then you should be good to go for a big size. But that is it, you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. A couple people did request it. I'm sorry that it's kind of hard to see just because it is clear, but I hope that kind of gets it across. I will make sure to link this guide down below. This is the We Are Memory Keepers. I don't know like what the actual name, like mushroom hole punch, single hole punch it is. And then the fuse tool, I will link that down in the description below. But I so hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I hope I'll see you on my next one. Bye!